Happy Sunday, all. It's been an improved weekend. Let's just say that since Thursday, I was having my complaining and won't be complaining the rest of the weekend because it has turned out pretty good. The 3 games since from my side, and hopefully it has somewhat, especially in this first game here with the Roosters and Knights for your team as well. Whether it was having Wong in your side, playing Savala, which would have worked out well. I personally didn't. That was kind of the only thing that hadn't gone really well in these last few games was Savala for that neg 17 on King Tonga's 46. But to start with him, the 63 points and 45 tackles, just the 3 misses there. 19 points in kick meters as well. So it was a 64 point base effort for him without running meters of 4 points there. So absolutely spectacular for him. No errors, no penalties, just the 3 misses for the negatives. Was a tremendous effort, and he's going to be up near 500k and has the ability to go further than that. And with Sam Walker and his thumb injury, that leaves Savala an opportunity to play in both 15 and 18, which is going to be awesome from my side, I know, and I'm sure will be for a lot of you guys that still have him, given round 18 is going to be very, very difficult to put out a decent 13. And I'm noticing, especially in half, centre and wing fullback, when you've got some of the better players like Isaiah Katoa, who performed really well last night, and wow, those Dolphins were incredible. Those types of players like Savala will be very helpful, and hopefully King Tonga is doing something decent again like he did this week. Now, Wong with his 76, I'm trying to work out what's happened the last few weeks. He's gone back to... There's a couple of games earlier in the season where he had the high 50s tackles, and he went to low 30s for a long time. So the difference between 32 and 57, like where's the 25 tackles coming from? Where it just fell away. So these are the kind of games that he'd either have big tackle numbers and low run meters, but they really gave him the footy in this one, and surprisingly only had the one tackle break, no offloads, and very similar with Nafahu White. They actually defended pretty well that way. Nafahu, who I had my side as well, had 180 meters for 0 tackle breaks and just the one offload out the back on the ground. So yeah, just this one for Wong, absolutely awesome to be able to hold him and get this big score was very, very impressive. And now we have to shout out Teddy because he broke open this game. Yeah, they were down 8-0 for a lot of this, and then Teddy with his offload for was it Fiketti that went the whole way, was it? Yeah, that's right. Fiketti went that whole way with the line break. What is absolutely killing me is that in what world is that not a try assist for Teddy to put a bloke in space like that, and he just ran the length of the field? That's definitely a try assist though. So hopefully that does fix up. I'll have to get our emails out, hey? But he broke that game open with that, and then for him to put on the toe for Wong there to run through and get that try, that was a dream, given I just bought Teddy this week for 53. Hopefully it goes up to 58, and was at 21 at halftime, so 53 is really cool. Very happy with that. The price point we got him at, very, very similar to where that score is very similar to where we've bought him at, which is good. Lucas 67 was great there with that early line break, 233 run meters, and no negatives in this one, which has been massive for him, given the last month since his return, he's had a fair few missed tackles and the like there. So Lucas was great. Most people own him. Crossland 62 in the full 80. When they do get a few troops back, that minutes number or number in score will come down. And for those that did decide to jump on Crossland, I had one person message me maybe a few weeks ago when they had the injuries, and then you've got Brayley as well with 51 out there too. Hastings, I thought he did a pretty decent job. Gets right into it. There's he definitely cannot say that he doesn't fight out there and care as well. 56 for him in his return game, almost helped them to a victory. Blake Steep continues to do great work there, 54 for him. He had Kaipi's Paul, went off with 4 minutes to go. I was trying to work out if there was any injury or anything like that, but he seemed okay. It just seemed like there was one there, he just kind of stood there, and I think the ball ended up in his hands and he pushed it back, and then must have went off for the last 4 minutes, given it was very back and forth, and he's played 80 minutes for a long time, so maybe that was the reason for going off in that last 4. Hopefully for owners that is the case, but 48 turned into 51 with him in this one. 22 at half time, so a good 29 in the second half was helpful for owners there. And I'm just thankful he didn't get 80, like we saw, Adam Fennell-Blake and like we saw with Kai last week as well. Nawangani Tawaze, a very easy hold, as we saw there, back in the centre position and getting good tackle numbers, which, with when Rob Toya's not there, he will be that centre. So great hold, should have been a hold, and will continue to be at that price. Nafahu White, 48 for him, was 52 overnight, so that was a tough little down date, but still very happy with that score. Happy that he didn't get injured, and we are gonna need him at times, whether it's gonna be come round 18 or not. Now that he's scored pretty well, I probably don't need his score. Looking at my side, so he may be the guy to go in round 17. Wong we probably can't move on from, given the couple of good scores that he's had in a row. Thankfully I caught this one. And then Savala and Teddy are definitely not sells. So I've got the 4 Roosters now, and it's something that I'm going to have to personally think about. Egan Butcher's 49, if anyone who jumped on him a couple of weeks ago at that cheap price. Good stuff. Kyle McCarthy, loved the blown up photo. 44 for him with the try saver and the line break try. It was good work there early on for their only try. Yeah. All right, Benaya Owelu. He had a 43 in 43 minutes. So him and Zach Docker-Clay both had really nice games there. 58 minutes for Zach. They played a little bit of time together, which was good, but they did lose Radley in this one, which helped out a few of these guys with some extra minutes. But Zach 40 and Benaya 43. So really good setups for them. And then Radley, the 34 minutes, was doing really well also. So frustrating for owners of him. He had that good score in round 12 that people bought him for, and he was on track for a really good one here. So very, very tough. Misses next week as well, and interesting to see if you're fairly heavy in mids and edges for round 18, then maybe missing the next few weeks there, and if you don't need him in that round 18, then he could be a sell. Frustrating one. Thomas Cant, 28 in 26. Fletcher Hunt, just a 29 at fullback as well. So I did have someone reach out and ask about him at 230. That works okay, but then he hasn't scored very well in general, so you probably couldn't expect a really good score. And doesn't play 18. Sharp's coming back next week. We'll see Ponga back as well. Sandon Smith, 28 for him. 2 goals. Just okay across the board. It was the Savala show. Yes, more in base, but I think he ran the floor a little bit better than what Sanders did in this one. Billy Smith, 27. Greg Marzu, looks like a wrist injury or something, a hand injury to him. It didn't look in good shape at all in the back end of that game. So that is frustrating for Greg and anyone who did buy. He's just a little bit under what we want to be getting out of a lot of the guns. But when we talk about guns, we had Drinky with his 14. So let's go straight to his score. Brought him in Dream Team, so my top 10 thoughts and aspirations this week are probably in the bin with, I think he got 9 or something. But 14 here, I had the head knock, like cheek, right in that gap maybe, that would hurt, with an elbow. And then end up with 4 missed tackles, 2 errors. But when you see 58 to 4, and you're not part of that try or try assist, well, I think it was a contribution if we look at a Supercoach, then it was never going to be good for you, Mr. Drinkwater. Tried his guts out as well, but just, it wasn't going to happen in this game, unfortunately. And we saw Tom Duffy get 33 minutes as well. So good on him for getting out there. He got absolutely driven over a few times there with a couple of these strong boys. And just want to say a massive shout out to the Dolphins. The last few weeks, they've been building to this type of absolute drubbing, and it came at a time when the Cows were losing a few players, but they absolutely put the foot on the throat and dominated in this one. Let's go and talk about some of the guns. What about Bostock counting his 4 tries? He was counting them too much, so he dropped the 5th. Bostock, what a man. Shout out to Austin. I saw your team has Bostock, Farnworth, Adden. I think it was like a mixture of all these massive scores and then a couple of low ones. So I think the 103 from Bostock will suffice no matter how many low scores in your side. With 312 run meters, the try assists, the 4 tries, the 2 line breaks, even a turnover tackle. So a massive game clearly from that left-hand side with Bostock, Farnworth and Nicarima all getting 79 and above. as you can see here, the top 8, 9 are all Dolphins before Kai O'Donnell putting in an absolute stint. Speaking of stints, Egan Butcher, wow. How many knocks he copped. These guys are warriors, man. And a great win for those Roosters. But Bostock there just has struggled to get anywhere near a 30 average. You can see here with the 103, he now has a 33.2 average for the season. So that was the reason why we sort of weren't too keen on even buying him this week, was the fact that he had an absolute stormer of a game, I think 2 games ago or something like that, and he picked up a 40 and couldn't have played much better with all his runs, his defensive effort, and then this one he just gets the absolute spoils there. That intercept catch to run the length, incredible, and all the rest of the effort was a team effort to get him some good footy there. But incredible from him. Similar with Farnworth, almost scored the same, scoring 3 less tries, had 7 offloads to hand, 6 tackle breaks. He's so hard to stop, 16 tackles, no misses. A couple errors there, but that was more in try scoring situations or bobbles or whatever else there with the ball in air. So Farnworth 99, incredible. If you don't own, that one hurts. If you're an owner, you are cheering. It's fairly high ownership, so you make small rankings there with Farnworth. If you captained him, though, that's where your money's made. What about Nikorima? Passing it off to him. I think it seems like it was just to keep the streak alive. So Cody ended up scoring a try later on. So good on him for being able to do that. But Isaiah Katoa is the man of the moment here as well. 69 for him with that awesome line break try assist. The good thing with Isaiah and watching him is how often he digs into the line so deep and then passes out back. So then when you do decide to run the footy, they are thinking you're going to pass out the back. And they're just drifting that little bit away from you, and you can get onto what was the left shoulder of the defender and go straight through. 28 tackles, 2 misses as well. Turnover tackle in there. Good run meters, good kick meters. Just the safest watch. And I put out a Insta reel / TikTok on the 3 best buyers of the week, the easiest watches. And it was Isaiah Katoa, Herbie Farnworth, and James Tedesco, which all pretty well played out. So please go ahead, guys, and follow along on TikTok and Instagram. It's just going to help me with growing the platform, growing the channel, and potentially to get sponsors and different things like that on down the track if they can see the nice big platform there. So that would be super helpful. And they are not just clips from the long stuff. They're just separate individual ones based on a topic of the week, basically. Get 3 or 4 a week out there and enjoy that. So thanks for that one. Fantasy Jamie, if you want to go check that out. Now, Kurt Donahue, we spoke about him as well, a little bit more to the back end of the week. I forgot to pop him in the team list, well, I mentioned him in the team list, but in the best buys video, and it was kind of a discussion through the later part of the week, and I did see a few people jump on, given he's going to keep that 13 spot now with all the injuries, and a try here just burrowing over. I wasn't happy with it personally, but shout out to everyone who did jump on that one there for 59. Take away the try, and it's still like a low 40s, which is awesome. At that price point, anywhere in the mid 40s, you're happy as Larry. Finafuriaki, 47 for him in 80 minutes. Just working hard. There was one run there, I think he just went straight over the top of Duffy. And then you've got the efforts from guys on the other side. Lemuelu with 2 line break assists there. Offload line break assists just looked awesome in contact. Asako with 9 goals in that line break down the right-hand side there. You've got Kai O'Donnell, as I said, with the 45. And Averillo just got some brilliance in him as well. Kai was one of the cash outs I mentioned of the week and picked up that 45 and a good score there for this one if you needed an edge. And then he'll be there for round 18 as well, which is good. And then Oren Keeley, one of the other boys that I mentioned. So it was Kai and Keeley in the same game at that cheap price under 300k, which is where we kind of want to go, apart from Bostock apparently. 41 in 51 with that try off Isaiah Katoa. Great effort from both those guys. Minutes are not super ideal, but kind of what we expected, somewhere in the 50 mark, and wouldn't mind some more base stats, but in this type of game, you had to be involved in the tries, especially from a Dolphins perspective, to get good points, because the tackles weren't going to be super high. McIntyre in there for 40 has the same. Really not too much else to say on those Cowboys, but we do have to mention Purdue, 32 for him, with that line break there, off a bit of broken play, 5 missed tackles, 2 errors. Happy with the kind of having 35 in base before negatives was good. But this is kind of the worry, as we said, with Purdue, and we have for a few weeks now, that against not so good teams, when they can win, he's going to be involved in attack. And when they lose pretty poorly, like this one, or even less than this, then he's going to be a guy that scores somewhere around this 30 mark. He finds a way to get some points, but it's never going to be incredible. And then Clifford back in this one, 25. You got Burns and Laybut, 24-22. And then anyone who jumped on Lawton, for him playing 9, he ended up moving to the bench. So hopefully he did switch him for someone else, if you're able to. And shout out to Lars with his debut as well. Not a nice game to come in and debut with, but yeah, a couple of good runs there when he first came on. So there you go, guys. That's the 2 games for the Saturday night. We have 1 to go at 4 p.m. and expect to see myself and Nikki this evening at video around 7, just a bit after 7 there. We'll get that up and posted. Looking forward to chatting with him about the week ahead of round 16 and a little bit of a thought on that final game and recapping the week and his thoughts, his trades, where he's at for the week. So good luck with the rest of round 15. Hopefully it's a decent one for you to finish. Colin Matungi is captain for myself with you and Aiken. No dogs on the other side. If you've got Karaz, shout out to you guys. I'm buying him in Supercoach, so I'll be on there a little bit with you there. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.